Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So as you can see, I have two of my sketchbooks out at the moment. So the one on the right, which is the one that I'm opening up right now, has all of my sample drawings that I want to do to kind of give a brief showcase of materials and mediums that you can use in this particular sketchbook because it's actually a notebook with notebook paper. While this one is my current sketchbook that I'm currently using. So I was revisiting and looking at my previous samples that I did for commissions at a convention. So these are the ones that I used for samples for a convention in 2022, which was 2 years ago. So I kind of want to do a revamp. I'll post some pictures right here of some of the commissions that I ended up doing. The pictures are from like two different conventions, I believe. I did over 22 different commissions at the time at my most recent convention, which was Anime Fawn 2022. But let's get on to talking a little bit more about actually doing commissions at a convention. So to kind of start off, I'm starting with materials. So for me, I find the most easiest commissions to do on site at a convention are just pencil on paper. So to prep, I decided to use the same cardstock that I used last time. So it's not super thick paper, but it's like the most convenient. It's also sturdy enough, I feel like, for commissions. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out the sample pieces that I did last year. And I try to make my samples the exact same size as the commissions that I want to do at my table to give a better representation of what kind of commissions that I do offer. So technically, even before worrying about materials and the type of commissions that you want to do at the convention, like on site, the first thing you should consider is whether or not you're going to have the time and space to do commissions. So I'm lucky enough to have a friend who will be accompanying me to my conventions this year, and she is kind of familiar with the process, which makes it a lot easier for me to be able to work on commissions while she deals a lot with the sales. And every so often I'll be helping her like look for prints or stickers or like other merchandise that she might not be able to find. Or if our table is too busy, then I will stop doing commissions for a bit and help with the sales and everything. But it is good to consider whether or not you're going to be tabling alone or if you will have an assistant, because for I guess like one reason is that so you're not too swamped with work so that you can focus on commissions. The other thing is that you want to have somebody to have an eye on your table at all times for the most part. I feel like art theft during convention and stuff like of merchandise has become a little bit more rampant lately. So before I get back to that, I did cut down all of my papers about to, I think it's 3.5 to 5 inches. 3.5 by 5 inches is the size that I'm going for. And then I decided to round out the corners with a corner rounder. I just think they look a little bit cuter and I don't have to worry about accidentally denting the corners of people's commissions, which I have done in the past. But overall, I think rounded corners just look a little bit more cuter and just resembles like a card. You can purchase like watercolor postcards or like these rounded pre-cut sheets like this, but because I'm not doing watercolor commissions this time, I decided that I would not go down this path. There is hot press paper like this as well that comes with the postcard kind of like design on the back, which also looks very cute. So there's definitely some options that you can play around with. But before we get to the mediums, let me continue with what I was saying before. So time is going to be very important, and having some kind of like eyes on your table is going to be important. So having an assistant or a table mate will be definitely important. So after that is time and space. So space wise, I highly recommend don't bring your entire ensemble of art supplies if you don't need to. So try to downsize your materials to something a little bit more easier for you to manage alongside with whatever you can fit on your table. Usually when people have their setups, you actually don't have a lot of space behind your table setup to actually like draw and like set out your supplies. So right now for me, because I mentioned time as like another factor, I am kind of doing what I did previously when I was practicing doing samples and doing practice rounds of drawing commissions. But because I've done this a few times and I've done plenty of commissions on site as of more like recently throughout the years, I feel a little bit more confident on what I can draw alongside with how long it would take me. But for your guys' sake, I decided to do a timer for you so you can kind of get a gist. So if you're planning to practice or do samples just to kind of gauge how long it takes you or how comfortable you get in terms of like being under pressure between like a time frame, I highly recommend doing a few samples. So do a character in your commission style or preference or whatever you want to offer in a character or whatever you offer that is the most familiar for you, and time yourself doing that and see how long it takes you to actually work on that piece and whether or not it's viable for you to kind of do as an on-site commission. Second, I would do one that is kind of like of a character or of a subject that you're not as familiar with, but maybe have like a little bit of an inkling. So right now, I am doing a headshot of Ike Eveland just because I drew him kind of more recently. So I decided that for me, his design and just like his demeanor and character in general is quite fresh in my brain. But later on, I'll be picking a character that I have technically drawn in the past and I have seen a lot, but I've never really drawn her like super fully. So it's kind of like the in-between of like knowing a character but not really have drawn the character, if that makes sense. And then I would do a third one, but I didn't do it for today just because I am more used to my own speed of when I sketch. So the third one, I would ask a friend or a family member or anybody else to give you a character suggestion, and you can just like go from there. So like set your timer, look up the reference, sketch that character in your style, and see how long does it take you to sketch. Now I know this is gonna vary like depending on what kind of character it is, or like literally if it's like super out of your wheelhouse, but I highly recommend also when you're planning to do commissions for like other people, and usually it's like a little bit more fast paced, there's a lot of people bustling around during a convention, I highly recommend making a form for your customer or your client. So I usually make them write down their name and their phone number so I have a way for me to contact them. I have them write out either the name of the character along with the series, or if it's like an original character or like something to give me a description so I know which commission is tailored to who. And then I also have sometimes put down like rules or things that you are not comfortable or familiar with drawing, so you can kind of give them a little bit of a heads up. So that could be a way to deter from people requesting. Let's say like you don't draw full mechas or anything, you could write that down. Maybe you want something not R18, or you don't draw furries or anything like that, you can definitely write that down. But the other thing I highly recommend is kind of being very clear with the due date for the commission with the client or like with the customer. So for me, because I attend a lot of conventions that are usually multiple days, and a lot of the commissioners also tend to be other people who are tabling at the convention as well, I like to give them an option that they can pick up their commission either the next day if they're attending the convention like all 3 days or all 2 days, or if they are part of the convention, I could, deliver their commission on the last day. So you can kind of prioritize your commission list a little bit better, because I do receive commissions on site that require me to finish it that day, so like within a few hours, just because they might be attending only the one day, or if it's on the last day they're going to be flying out, or like anything like that. So it's nice to pace yourself a little bit. But also the benefit of a multi-day is that you can accept more commissions if you're willing to. So luckily for me, and I guess like my friend, she and me are both more like not like a busy person when it comes to like, if you're in a new city, we have to go out, we have to go like see things and stuff. Then again, like the city that I'm going to, I went to university there, so like it's not really new to me, but it's kind of new to her. So we might be kind of like visiting around, trying out restaurants and stuff. But when I get back from the convention and I just go back to either the Airbnb or the hotel, I just go right back into commission mode. So a lot of the commissions that are able to be picked up the next day or later on during the convention weekend, I like to do them that night and then have them ready for the next morning, so that when I get into the convention again, into Artist Alley, I can go ahead and text those people being like, hey, you can pick up your commissions today and all that. and then that will basically free up your entirety of your next day. So if I had taken commissions on Friday and I had a lot that were going to be returning on Saturday or Sunday, then on Friday night, I would try to finish all the commissions and have them ready for Saturday for pickup. Then on Saturday, I can have the entire day just open for new people to commission me, and it'll just be kind of like a fresh start. And once again, if Sunday is another option, then I will kind of bulk pile and do some of the Sunday commissions on Saturday night and then leave Sunday open to only that day pickup, if that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. So, with that being said, if you are the type or you will accept commissions and it will be like an overnight process, you could probably bring more supplies if you would like to. I have brought watercolors to the convention in the past and I've done a very janky setup. So, I would carry around a water bottle filled with water from the sink, and then I would have an empty water bottle and a funnel. And then in a small jar, I would pour the sink water into the small jar to use as kind of like my clean water. And every time I need to dispose my water, I would pour it into the empty bottle via the funnel. So that way I always have clean water. I also carried a travel-sized watercolor pack and watercolor paper with me. It was just like too much of an ordeal. I've also done pencil crayon commissions in the past, which was also just too much and too long. So for me, as you can see, this Ike drawing, which is just a headshot, only took me about half an hour, which you would want to give yourself a little bit more time in terms of how long it takes you to do a commission. Because 27 minutes is kind of like what I'm working at when I'm working comfortably. So this is not going to take in consideration if you have social anxiety like I do, or if you have to be interacting with other people. So like I said, I am graciously getting help from a friend who's going to be tabling with me as my assistant, but it does not mean that you're not going to be interacting with people or like helping people with buying stuff at your table or looking for prints, looking for keychains, stickers, or whatever behind your table. So you're going to need to allot a lot more time to your commission process rather than just taking the minimum amount of time. So unfortunately, as I'm working on the second kind of sample, which I might scrap, we'll see what happens. So this one is of Silver Wolf from Honkai Star Rail, because she is a character that I've never really drawn all that much. I think I've only painted her once. So because she's a character I wasn't like super used to, I want to see where does she lie in terms of how long it will take me to do the commission. So unfortunately, I did not hit record for the good, I guess, like first 20 minutes of this commission. You can kind of see up in the upper left-hand corner, it says like 2604, 05, 06. That is like the second time. I decided to do laps instead just because it's like I would like to see the cumulative time, but for the most part, even if I'm not super familiar with Silver Wolf, I did take about the same amount of time as I did with Ike, and Ike did take a lot quicker just because I did end up restarting, so I think I lost like 5 minutes earlier just because I did draw Ike a little bit smaller than what I really wanted for the commissions for the headshots. But like I said, if you are worried about time, I highly recommend doing a bunch of samples. In the past, I asked my brother to give me, I think it was like, he gave me a Fire Emblem character and a Fate Grand Order character. So Fire Emblem, a little bit more used to. Fate Grand Order, I have like an inkling at the time. I have more knowledge about it now, just because he keeps feeding me information. But at the time, there were characters like I was not familiar with, but I think I only took 10 to 15 minutes more when I was like unfamiliar with the character, just because I'm keeping the commissions fairly simple. So I kind of still have some kind of process for me to go through that's going to remain the same. Shading and like kind of bringing up the intensity of like values and all that stuff, detailing, all that. It just becomes a little bit more quicker after I've laid down the initial sketch. And usually my initial sketch goes by quite quickly, as I do think I sketch quite fast for the most part, if I'm like confident, I guess, with the character. So last but not least, in terms of the video, I am going to be doing one last sample. So if you watch some previous videos that I did, I think last month, I was kind of doing sample versions of like drawings in this particular sketchbook to give people a better representation of what kind of mediums or like what the mediums look like in this particular sketchbook. Just because it is a notebook with notebook paper, it's just like I don't want to deceive people and being like, oh, like I say you can do this, you can do this, and you can do this in this notebook. But I think it's just easier for me to show you because the paper is super thin. So I feel like some people might be a little skeptical of what mediums can be held in this particular paper, if that makes sense. So yeah, I decided that because I'm already working on pencil sketches, I will just go ahead, crack open the sketchbook and do a little page of my OC Kaizen and graphite. So, that way I kind of have that out of the way as well. So I think I still have to do gouache, watercolor, water-based markers, acrylic markers, and just like a generic sample page is what I would like to do. But I feel like these kind of like character little portraits of each medium kind of helps for the most part. And it's just kind of fun drawing Kaizen again. So at least in terms of what I'm drawing, yes, I'm drawing my OC Kaizen. I have him holding like a letter with, I wanted to draw like more dry flowers kind of like taped onto the letter, because on my Pinterest, I saw these really cute looking, they weren't exactly envelopes, but they have like a little slot that you can put in the dry flowers and they look really cute. So I thought it'd be nice to draw a Kaizen like this, and eventually I would like to turn this into a digital drawing. I'll probably change up the pose and stuff, but I do like associating him with like darker themed plants and stuff, plants and flowers, alongside with him being a little bit more, it's not cynical, but like he thinks about a little bit more about money and like profiting and selling plants and stuff, while Masaki's more on like flowers, dainty things. I want to gift people these pretty flowers because they mean a lot, while this guy's like plants for propagation, all that stuff. Like I don't know, I'll talk about it in a different video about my OCs. But what was I going to talk about? Oh, I feel like dry flowers also just fit him and his personality, so I would like to associate it a little bit more with him in the future. Trying to think about what is the last thing I wanted to mention. Oh, also, if you saw me use a piece of paper as kind of like to block my hand from smudging, I was using this really botched up sticker sheet that I made because the cutting was so off. So I just flipped it over to use it as kind of like a barrier for my hand. But I'm trying to think what was the last thing I wanted to mention about taking commissions at a convention. Oh, I guess like for me, the number one reason why I like doing commissions for people at a convention is mostly because I enjoy seeing people's reaction on getting like a custom piece of art at a convention versus like, oh, you see a fandom you like, this artist drew it. It's kind of nice, but like being able to request a sketch from a person and then later on receiving it, it's just something a little bit different. So I told my friend that my two goals with the upcoming convention in August. By the way, if you are going to be in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and you're going to be attending AnimeFon, then come say hi. I would love to meet you and say hi. I probably will, but knowing myself, I probably won't say much, so I do apologize if I'm extremely awkward. My friend's gonna be a lot more like animated and bubbly. She's more of a people person than I am, but please treat her with kindness. Please, 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 because I adore her so much, but I don't want to put so much like pressure on her just to, boost me up just because I'm so shy. But my two goals. So one is that I want to find more art books or like original zines and stuff from artists during Artist Alley. So I'm going to try my best to peruse around as much as I can before Artist Alley opens up to the public, because after it opens up, I kind of like stick my butt to that chair and don't move unless I have to go to the washroom. The second thing is that I want to find other people who are doing commissions, because I would really love to get just commissioned art of Masaki, and I'm considering Kaizen as well at this point. Or any fandoms that I'm currently in, but I would love to get original art from some other people of my own OCs. Oh, I guess like a third mini goal is that there is an artist that I really love named Mako House, and I want to draw her OCs for her and just like drop it off of her table and run because I hate interacting with people. So, at least I don't hate. I get too anxious when I have to interact with people. My brain goes blank, and I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I'll just apologize in advance if you have to talk to me and I'm very much like not in the great headspace that day. But in terms of commissions, I think that's about it. So type of commissions, time, and whether or not you have the space for the materials that you want to do, alongside, I guess, like price wise as well. So I've always made my commissions really cheap because I work quite quickly. But while discussing with my friends, I am raising my prices a little bit so that I'm not deterring people away from wanting to get a commission. Because like I said, if I have a half an hour-ish to 45-minute-ish turnaround, it's actually not too bad. So I can probably take like multiple during the day, which is kind of nice. But so I guess what else is there? Oh, I guess packaging for commissions. I like to put them in a plastic sleeve if I can and have business cards 100% or leave your handle somewhere on the commission. I would highly recommend that. It's a good way to let the commissioner follow you on your socials or if they want to contact you later, or it's nice because they can tag you as well so you can kind of like let other people know what your art looks like or like what you did during that time. This is like further promotion and like marketing for the most part. And yeah, it's just good marketing, self-promotion. If you just drop your business card into your commissioner's little sleeve when you give them the commission, I think it's just kind of nice. Highly recommend also dating the commission, so putting the date either on the back or on the front, just because just keeping record. Also, in terms of keeping record, highly recommend taking a photo before you give your commission away. It's just nice to have a backlog or like to check what your commissions look like in the past. So for me, I've only shown you guys like the 10 examples at the very beginning. So like I mentioned, in 2022, during AnimeFon, I did over 22 commissions. And the reason why I can't give you a solid number is that I have 22 pictures on my phone. I'm pretty sure I have some kind of proper log somewhere because me and my friend usually take inventory every day when I do like a multiple day convention just to see what sells the best, what doesn't sell the best, how much we make like on one product versus the other kind of thing. Just, keeping tabs on things for the most part. But for commissions, I forgot to take a lot of photos after I kind of gave them away. So I have 22 logged on my phone from AnimeFon. I think I have like 10 or 12 from a previous convention, which I definitely forgot to take a lot of photos. And I'm kind of sad. I did some really cute commissions at the time. I think one of them was of Selene, another one was of Enna, Goro from Genshin Impact. There's just a few, but like there's some really cute ones like of people's OCs or like they want to get drawn themselves. So if they're cosplaying as like their original character and stuff, sometimes they just ask me to draw them. So that's also very fun. Trying to think what else to talk about regarding commissions. Oh, take breaks. Take breaks. Keep yourself healthy and sane for the most part. Like I said, my friend who's helping me table, because she's tabled with me in the past, and my previous friends. So like my friends who have tabled with me at previous conventions, they are like my best friends. They have been the closest friends to me ever since like middle school or like junior high. So they're very aware of how I am. So I get anxious and very locked in sometimes. So for me, I will forget to drink water and eat and take a break because I just go when I'm working on commissions. So they usually tell me to take breaks and stuff. So take care of yourself if you are going to a convention, regardless if you're tabling or if you're just attending. Just drink a lot of water, make sure you get something to eat, take some rest and stuff. But I think that's it for the sketching session today. I kind of show you guys a overview of what we did from previous sessions alongside with my checklist of other mediums that I have to do. I'm just putting this little note on each of the spreads or like the pages with the medium alongside with the character that I drew. So here is Kaisen. I actually really like this sketch. Like I said, I would like to do something with this concept again with the dry flowers and like the envelopes and stuff just because I think it fits him. But I think that's it for today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video and it might help you in the future if you attend cons. But I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!